Hi, my name's Peter Austin. I've been a member of the Burlington Oldtimers since 1988. That's when a friend of mine, Stu Cockshut, convinced me I should sign up and join. Our daughters were playing hockey together themselves. My registration number is 665, which in today's world is really kind of low. I started in the Blue Division back in '88 and then had to take a break for about 5 years as I moved back to Munich, but I kept my membership going and kept my seniority going. And so when I came back, joined a team in the Silver Division and started playing again in the fall of 1995. It was great. We really enjoyed it. And then in I think it was 1999, the club expanded and we split the Silver Division where I was playing into Gold and Gray, which meant that a lot of the guys that I was playing with at the time were now in a different group. So this is when Porky, or Ken Porkalab, and Paul Sinker got together and decided to put together a group called the Golden Grays. The idea was to just keep the friendships going, even though we were now playing in two different divisions. During this time, I also decided that we needed to treat our goalie Porky with due respect, and so I came up with the idea of putting together a badge with Porky's picture on it and the words "I pucked Porky," and everybody who scored against Porky managed to get one of those badges, and that went on for a good number of years. It was a lot of fun, and we had a lot of fun with it.
There are a couple thousand of those made, weren't there?
I think there were. I have no idea how many. I could go back on the computer, so I think I got all the original pictures still stored. But I didn't get any of the badges, by the way. I didn't score on Porky, probably because I was on his team occasionally too, and he didn't want me to score. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. Around 2002, I became treasurer, and as a matter of fact, I was the last elected treasurer for the club. I think that was from 2002 to 2005, because after that point we decided that it was best to have a professional do the job, and since that time actually it's been Richard Krummenacher who's taken on that responsibility. Thank goodness. Myself and a few friends were playing summer hockey with the Russell Hockey Group in Burlington, and we sort of thought to ourselves, you know, why can't we have summer hockey with the Burlington Oldtimers? And so four of us got together and said we'll pitch it to the board. We kept growing that, and I believe nowadays we have a summer hockey group that has 12 teams. I think everybody plays 22 games in the season. Unfortunately not this summer, but I'm sure it'll be back. And I managed that for about 10 years with a lot of help from different people. Gary Downer helped immensely in the pool side of things. We had Wes Henry doing the financials, and Warren Osborne helping us out. Jordo, who has now taken over the responsibilities, thank goodness, and I've sort of sat back and decided I'm going to enjoy a beer after the game rather than worry about who's organizing what. Anyway, the summer hockey, I think, is one of the fantastic things that we began a number of years ago. And then, I'm trying to remember when it was, I think in about 2016, there was an article in the Sun newspaper that said some guy in London at age 85 was in the Guinness Book of Records as the oldest hockey player in the world. And right away I got a call from Stu Cockshut, who asked me what the heck is going on, because he's 6 months older, and can I do something about that? So I started looking into it and went to the Guinness Book of Records and applied for an application, and we decided we would try and get Stu into the Guinness Book of Records. And it was a fantastic time. We put on a special hockey game for Stu. We had Red Sharon from the CBC do a piece on him that was shown on the national news across Canada a good many times, which gave a lot of good exposure to the Burlington Oldtimers, and registered Stu Cockshut as an 80-plus Hockey Hall of Famer. And sure enough, about a year later, we got going on that, and Stu was the first Burlington Oldtimer that was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame and I think that might have been about 2017. Anyway, since that time, we now have 5 members of the Oldtimers who are in the Hockey Hall of Fame, but we decided we'd try and go one step further, and we're trying to have the inauguration ceremony for the Hockey Hall of Fame held in Burlington by our club. The 80-plus guys have agreed that we can go ahead with this plan. Unfortunately, the pandemic we have right now has kind of thrown a wrench in the works, but we're looking at doing it in the fall of 2021. And we'll have a big banquet and induction ceremony after it. So we're all looking forward to this. Just as a side note too, I know that the last time the Americans came to play, there are a few guys that flew all the way from Alaska to be able to take part in the game. So it really is quite an event.
What position do you play?
I play basically, they call it defense, and usually find me in front of their net.
Can you name 5 guys that could probably get around you?
5 guys that can get around me? Or do you want to know the names of 5 teams that can get around me? There's a lot of guys there's a few guys that try, but sometimes, you know, when you get to be a certain age, particularly in summer hockey, when you get to be a certain age, I think I have the right to sort of grab and hold and do things that I have to do because I'm not as fast as the other guys.
Have you ever won a championship?
Well, I've won a number of championships. I think the last one was 2 years ago. We won the league, the round robin, and the horse race. So that was the trifecta. Fantastic. I've done that, I think, twice in my life with the Oldtimers. What is it, 31 years.
Have you ever had a bad team captain?
Yeah, the worst one I ever had was probably me. Yeah, and it was a tough year. I think we ended up the year with single-digit points, and we couldn't keep anything out of the net.
What's the highest goal or points total you've had in your career?
I'm diplomatic about that. I just don't simply keep track.
Do the goalies have a nickname for you at all?
Porky probably does. I'm not quite sure what it is, but Bill Swibras has sort of fined players on his team for doing things incorrectly. And there were a couple times when I got in a bit of a dispute with him about whether or not I should be fined or reprimanded. And in actual fact, he launched a couple of court cases against me. One is a liability lawsuit where where I accused him of letting a goal in, and he said that is not true, that he was already on the bench, and that was 100% a liable situation. And I'm trying to remember, the other one was where he was trying to blame me for a goal on Porky, said it hit my stick, bounced over it, and went into the net, and I claimed it never touched my stick, and we had a bit of a lawsuit on that as well.
Who would you say was the goalie that you had to do the most work for?
The most work for?
As a defenseman.
As a defenseman, I think we had a general rule of thumb. When John Robertson was in goal, we said never let anybody shoot on John. And then the other thing I taught him too was, you know, John, first you've got to stop the puck before you clear it. It took a while, but he learned.
Who's better? Who's a better defenseman, you or Bernie Porter?
I think Bernie had more a heads-up way of play. I have more a heads-down and charge way of play. So I think in that respect, he probably had a better view of what was going on.
He had a hell of a shot.
He had one heck of a shot. Well, the guy who had the shot that I still stood in front of but didn't like was John Vansickle. He had one heck of a shot.
Right.
Yeah, and even Ross Draguno still has one too.
Oh yeah.
So,
I've felt a couple of those.
Yes, I'm silly enough not to try and get out of the way of them. So sometimes it hurts.
Who's better, you or Gary Downer?
I'll leave that as a toss-up. We're on the same summer hockey team, and I'll let the rest of the team decide. But whatever you do, don't ask our summer goalie, because he has his own opinion on that. Okay.
Tell us about the longest goal in the history of the BOHC?
Well, I don't know if it's the longest in the history of the BOHC, but it has to be close anyway. I was behind our net, basically, in our end. I was back there, and I shot the puck down the ice. It went straight down the ice, bounced off the end boards at the other end, came back out. Dennis Sorio, the goalie down the end, turned around to try and stop it. It bounced off his stick and went straight in the goal. There's the easy way to score.
And that was a goal for.
That was a goal for, not against. Yeah, an unusual one too.
Congratulations. Yeah. How many own goals are you charged with?
Well, I can remember the first goal I scored in summer hockey was when I tried to clear it behind our net and didn't realize how fast the other guys are coming at me, so I just panicked and got rid of it, and it went right over the shoulder of our goalie and right in the net.
Do you have any advice for new hockey players that are joining BOHC?
Well, you know, over the years I've gotten a few people to join up who are old-timers, and the general rule of thumb has been once they've joined up, they've said, well, why didn't you convince me to do this years ago? You should have done that, and that sort of thing. And my advice to everybody is just lay back, relax, enjoy it, have fun, because it is one heck of a lot of fun.